All right. Oh wait, it's rolling.
Is that rolling?
It's that opening jitters. Oh wait. Is the show on? The show must go on.
I'm Jake Schriner.
I'm Bob Nelson. I'm Tracey White.
And I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie, and this is the Compass Conversation Podcast. Welcome back. All right. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woo-hee-ha.
We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
How long were you rolling before we got
Just a few seconds. It wasn't long.
like 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Some good B-roll.
Well, all right. Well, I'll just throughout the podcast, I'll just bring back that few seconds. A little B-roll. Every time there's a change of scenery, change of subject, I mean. Well, okay. It's been a while, been a few weeks, so I'm glad that we're here doing this today. Who knows about next week? Actually, I don't know. Bob and I are going to be heading out for a very short staff retreat.
Oh.
Very short this time, but we might actually be back in time to do a podcast. Yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll let you guys know. Anyway, all right, let's go around the table. I know you're tired. I know you're weary. You don't have to go into all of it, but how are you doing?
Pass. I am tired. You know how yesterday I told you I think my staffing problems are fixed? I lied. So I spent most of my day out in the steel yard. But it's fine. It's nice to be out there once in a while, get out of the office for a little bit. It's not as nice when it's unexpected, but gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, one cool thing with work though that happened the last few weeks, we help out the Colorado Avalanche with one of their charities. It's called Stack the Wins, and they take a puck from every winning game they have in the season and they put it on this board and then they auction it off at the end of the season. And so we are the ones that make the board for them. We cut it out of steel and do their logo on it.
You did this last year, right?
We did it last year, yeah, absolutely.
Are you going to get some free Avs tickets this time?
I'm wearing some free swag. So they gave me a couple sweaters, sweatshirts, not sweaters, because that's what a hockey jersey is called. I didn't get an actual jersey. But, and I got I did get a signed stick. From their new defenseman, so that's kind of cool. Hopefully he's the next Wayne Gretzky, and then it'll be worth money in like 30 years.
We'll see. Well, hey, they were top of the heap last year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So it'll be, I think that was fun. I like doing that kind of stuff with work. You know, we get to do different variety of things and help out different people, and so that's a good one because they auction off the board for anywhere from like $5 to $10,000, and they donate it all to charity, and it's a cool thing to be a part of. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, and then I don't know, it's been a long time. I feel like a lot's happened. Not much has happened at the same time.
Yes.
Had you over for dinner a couple weeks ago?
Yes, we did, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really nice. Yeah, had a good evening. Had some good food. Good chatting.
It was very good. It was just what I needed to. And same thing when I was at your guys' place. That it was like perfect. Leona was gone, and it was just good to be with you guys. And,
we didn't want you to be lonely.
I enjoy my own company sometimes.
I have great conversations with myself.
Just sitting there talking. Just talk back and forth with my other self.
The arguments, though, they get a little heated.
It's that scene from The Two Towers where it's like two different camera angles.
Yes.
It's like, where'd you get that smack on your face? I did it. I'm arguing with myself. But no, it was just nice to have just a home cooked meal and to hang out with you guys. So I appreciate it. If I didn't say thank you then, I'm saying it again to both of you. Thank you for that. That was right before your cruise, too. Well, all right, man. We're glad you're here.
Me too.
And as always.
And hope the labor troubles.
No, it's more than that. But
I understand.
I'm picking up on quite an epic tale behind us, but we'll let it stay.
So,
all right, Bob, how are you?
Just tired. I need a weekend for my weekend. So today is Joy's birthday, and happy
birthday, Joy!
Happy birthday, Joy!
We've had a great birthday weekend. So started out Friday going to a show.
And I forgot on Sunday. I was going to say something. Completely forgot.
no big deal. She
We had a lot of stuff.
She doesn't need the embarrassment. That's what she would say. So yeah, we went to a show down in the DCPA. Oh, good grief! A little night music, a Sondheim show, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, great theater. There's not any bad seats at the Wolf Theater, is what we've discovered. So, but we had really good seats at the Wolf Theater, so that was a really nice thing. And then even today, kind of extended that to today with before coming here, I went to Applebee's real quick for a birthday dinner, her choice.
Did they sing Happy Birthday?
No, we didn't let them know until the end. So we did get a show there too, because there was two couples that started talking about soul food and how much they missed it, and they were very funny, very earthy, but incredibly funny.
Right.
But yeah, I think that what was the one gal? She said something along the lines of, "Throw the dog the bone, but I want a meal in my man."
Meal in my man.
Yeah, she was talking about how don't give me this little frou-frou stuff. I want a guy that's got some meat on him. So, it was hilarious.
Oh my.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Dinner and a show.
Winner of show.
Paying
You
for
give
the
us a
show.
little bit of one right now.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
So yeah, it was just a very long weekend. But a very good weekend. We had a good time with church stuff and Joy's birthday and everything. So yes, it was all good.
Awesome. All right, let's jump across the table. Tracy,
Hello.
welcome back from your cruise.
Thank you. Yeah.
How you doing?
Doing all right. This is our first time ever going on a cruise and getting sick, but
You're sick of
we were
cruise.
still able to enjoy it thoroughly. And so we're back and tired, and then of course Kathy had her thing today, and so there's going to be some recovery from that.
Yeah.
And so we're tired, and but grateful to be here, and glad that we were able to make it home in time to get to church yesterday.
Yeah.
She didn't, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I was glad to have you back.
Yeah, somebody had to smack that box.
Somebody had to do it, man. And you always do it so well. Even when you make me look so much better because you fix what I messed
I
up.
don't know. I was kind of out of it, and I don't know. But yeah. So trying to think about getting back to the normal day to day this week. So while helping with household chores, that's doable. Josh and I are pretty good at stuff. So yeah, there you go.
Excellent.
And I was very impressed with Josh to hear that
He was
when
there.
we were gone,
Yes, he was.
He still went to church anyway, and then of course he was there yesterday. He says he's figured out his schedule to where when Sundays come around, he should be just fine.
Yeah, that's what it sounds very proud.
Yeah, his wake sleep schedule. So
Has he slept, like if he shows up on Sunday mornings, is it like he hasn't slept since Saturday
Correct.
morning?
Right,
So
yeah.
he's
He
coming
goes to
off of his
sleep.
work, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
he sleeps after church. He still only gets like maybe 5 or 6 hours on the outside, but around 5 hours, I'm like, I'm not sure that's enough. So
Yeah. No,
Yeah, well-
it's not.
we'll see how that catches up to him. Johnny,
Yes.
how you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good today, believe it or not. I was telling Bob as I was walking in that yes, it's tiring, it's a Monday, but there is something about, I have a short week this week.
Woohoo! Was it fall break coming up?
There's a fall break coming up, but I don't have to be at the school on Thursday or Friday.
Oh.
Even though teachers do, whatever,
Yeah.
but the kids are gone after Wednesday. And there's just something about going through the day, looking forward. It's like the message from Sunday.
Yeah.
Hope ahead. It gives me a little bit more belief. It's like, yeah, this is a bummer, but
The open doors.
Tomorrow, all the teachers will be like, "Oh, it's Tuesday," and you'll be like, "What? It's Thursday."
That's right. And a little pep from Starbucks. You guys know I was only on Mondays when we do this. Usually when we're also doing rehearsal, which we're not tonight. I stop by and I drink coffee later than I normally do. And today I decided to rock the Compass Church stands
Yes.
on top of the Starbucks.
Awesome.
Now I saw at Starbucks tonight, just to share quickly, I always look at who the barista of the week or whatever is, and it's a name I have never seen before. Celicity.
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 cool.
I don't know. I thought that's kind of pretty, kind of strange, kind of interesting. Celicity. I wanted Celicity to be there so she could say something, kind of crazy, and I would go, "Oh, the audacity, Celicity!" But she wasn't there. So
The audacity of Celicity not being.
But speaking of Starbucks and of baristas and what have you, and Bob has seen me do this once. We meet sometime, or at least we have been. We're going to be meeting back at the school for our staff meetings on Saturday mornings. But since there wasn't any setup, we've been meeting at the Starbucks right there by the school. And it is always just slammed on Saturday mornings, even 7:30, 8 o'clock, it doesn't matter. But the thing that makes me go like this isn't all that. There's just one barista. And it's just the way she talks. It's nothing personal, but it just grates on my nerves, especially early Saturday morning. Like, hello, it gets to you. Well, how can I get for you going today? All right, oh God. And raise it up, and it's just like, it's a very pretentious voice. I don't know. Anyway. But aside from that, there's all my Starbucks stories for now.
He loves you anyway.
I love you, though. Yeah. I love her. I do. But man, that voice. It's just
self-defense.
What can I get for you? Can I get started for you today? Okay, stop. Anyway. So I was at school today, and a couple of funny things I'll share fast, just really quickly. One isn't funny, but one is they were talking in the staff lounge at lunch near the late part of the day. There's one staff member who's going to be going to New Orleans to celebrate their anniversary with their husband. And she's sitting right here next to me. And then Lori's sitting here. And then another person who's actually from Louisiana, as I am from Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And so we're talking about these things, about what she should do in New Orleans. And this somehow moved into, I don't know if it's because it's spooky season, it's October, some spirit stuff and voodoo and Marie Laveau, the queen of voodoo. And they start talking about it. You should even be careful how you're saying Marie, because it's almost like Bloody Mary. You got to be careful, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and so this whole thing got into this sort of dark, spiritual, magic-y thing. And I'm just sitting there kind of eating my yogurt, right? So the whole time as that happens, the person sitting next to me, she started getting closer and closer and closer to me. And she caught herself. She goes, I just realized what I'm doing. I'm moving closer to the pastor while you guys are talking about all this spirit stuff. And she started laughing. She was just kind of like, like I was going to protect her spiritually.
Right.
It was the yogurt. It was the yogurt that was going to protect her.
But it reminded me that there's a lot of spiritual talk out there, even for people who aren't Christian. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how spiritually aware of things and willing to believe and step into spiritual talk, even though it's slightly divorced from Christianity, which is the perfect scenario to be talking about spiritual things. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. She was just like, she caught herself like I was gonna, I'm the Ghostbuster at the school or whatever.
Keeping the demons away.
Keep the demons away.
It reminds me of a little headline that I read, and I don't follow there's a tattoo show, where they do tattoos on people, and I guess
speaking of, my son's going to be here doing some tattoos.
Yes, I heard. But I guess there's this one celebrity tattoo artist. She's really into Wicca and the occult and stuff like that. But there was this big to-do because she found God and has renounced all of that stuff and been baptized and everything.
So, is that the Victoria D or something like that?
No, Cat.
Yeah.
Cat has been.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Saw something on Instagram about that. It was on Facebook. Cross-posted on.
That's cool. I didn't read the article or anything because
That's very cool.
I don't know who it is, but I saw the headline and I thought, well, that's somebody that people know, I guess, and whose eyes were open to the truth, and that's a good way to testify to.
Well, there was a guy. He's a worship leader who this was probably 10 years ago. He was on that show, it was like the conversion of Saul, or into, not the conversion of Saul, conversion of Saul, our friend Paul, on his arm. And so on the show, he's talking about Christ, and she's the one giving him a tattoo. So, there have been people who influence different people in
Years
Hollywood years later. Yeah, that's a long time, man.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
We plant the seeds. Somebody else brings the growth. Somebody else waters it, and then God brings the growth.
Well, I was, at school, I said the second thing real fast was just that I'm amazed at the number of kids who will they'll raise their hand in the cafeteria, and I'm thinking they need me to open their milk. And instead I come up and they said, did you know that that the devil can get into you, and you have to, if you listen to them, he'll make you not do what God wants, and God wants us to do, but they're talking, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so just randomly, and I'm like, okay, that's very, very cool. Okay, but right now I need you to focus on your lunch. I can't really get into, but
The devil is telling you don't eat your lunch. So don't listen to that.
So sometimes a kid will just surprise me because I think maybe they're Muslim. And they say, I'm a follower of Jesus. And I'm like, wow, okay. And I was happy to hear it. But then this other girl's so sweet and she just loves me. And I'm pretty positive that they are not Christian. And so this God talk is from another kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And as she was walking away today, I saw her again. And I was thinking, man, my heart just breaks for all of these kids and families. And I forget, you just kind of go around here with people and, you're having fun with them and you love them and all of that. But remembering everybody needs Christ, everybody needs Jesus. And there's such a void in some of those families. But I'm always, again, I'm surprised at the ones who actually are followers of Jesus. So anyway, interesting segue. Cool at school. Here we are. And our event has already been, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but I know I've talked with you guys about this. Our event has been promoted to all the parents, whether they remember it or not.
I have some ideas I want to run by you before, but not
on the podcast. Okay.
I mean, I could, but
Well,
then the podcast will be about brainstorming ideas.
That's always fun too. Let's come back to that idea here in just a few minutes. Nuts and bolts, yeah, we got some nuts and bolts. I always think it's good to throw a little something to people who follow us on the podcast. I know it's out there for the whole world to see, but those who are committed to watching, they should get a little behind the scenes.
Yeah, you should clip in the picture that the principal decided to post with.
Oh, yeah.
With the announcement for her compass.
Yeah, that's
hands coming up out of the
hands
grave.
coming out of the grave. Yeah, it was promoted by someone besides us, and this is actually a positive thing. It's not what I would have done ever. But yeah, it looks like ghouls coming out.
Right.
Compass Church, come to our Halloween thing. So anyway, it's like, but at the same time, it's like, this is kind of cool. The school is promoting our thing.
And it's headlined with Compass Church.
Yes, it's Compass Church. Yeah, I did take a screenshot of that just because I thought it was the funniest thing ever. This is like, not what here's Compass Church in the graveyard with the zombies. And so I was like,
the grave.
yeah, we're the undead, and we're the live.
Oh my goodness.
And she was just like, it was like praise hands, she was saying.
Praise hands. Ghoulish praise hands.
Yeah, okay, whatever. All right.
I thought it was cute.
It is, yeah, no, it's fine. It wasn't weird aside
Yeah.
from the idea. It was cartoony, but it was still, it was just nice that they did that. And that was not without me saying, hey, can I promote our event? We're going to be out here. She just did it. She asked me, are you guys still going to be doing that? Yeah, okay.
That
Let
is
everybody know. That's cool. Sweet. So that's a plus.
That's like a neighborhood staple now.
It has become
It's
that.
like that event is.
It's
So
true.
many people show up.
Yep.
I really hope it doesn't snow. Or I just hope I don't.
Anything is possible.
Ugh. Well, I know. Right?
Anything is
Oh,
possible, man.
Including an 80-degree day.
An
Which
80-degree
we could
day
only
today.
hope for.
Yes.
It'll probably rain.
Oh no, Jake! Keep your curses to yourself.
Now, Barry.
That is the only thing. If it were to rain, that's never happened on Halloween for us. But it did snow one time. There was snow on the ground during the Halloween
Yep.
event. That has happened. It wasn't snowing, but there was snow on the ground. So that's
It's been cold. It's
Rain
been
would be a
warm.
problem for me in my suit of armor.
Ooh.
I'd get all rusty.
That's true. It's gonna be rough for you if it's cold too.
Oh no, that thing's fur lined. It's warm.
Oh, that's right.
How's that coming along, by the way?
I need help.
I'm at a point where I can't like measure with it on me, and I also it
Bring
does
it
limit
over,
my
Jake.
movement.
Just bring it over.
So I was kind of joking with someone about it. I need to put a piece across the back to connect the shoulders together, and I was like, I should just put some pins through the holes and just like back into a wall, and then I can measure the distance between the pinholes.
That's fun.
but I don't want
I can't wait to see this thing.
It's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah. I think it's looking really good. I bought like double-headed rivets and everything, and the shoulders like form down and everything. I mean, it looks
Oh, my
cool.
goodness.
Well, I mean, there's no pressure or anything, but you are a steel guy.
I know it has to be.
Has to be
Has
fantastic.
to be pretty decent. Yeah.
Well, I will say, if it is cold, Tracy, you'll be very happy to know that Compass Church has 2 new heaters,
Yay!
propane heaters that we're going to be using on that
Awesome.
night and on Halloween. On Christmas even, and all those times. So.
Did they say Compass Church on?
No, but I can put some zombie hands on the side.
There you go. Yes.
Zombie hands.
Don't be cold.
Praise hands of the dead.
Praise hands.
This has gotten very strange. Okay, well.
Bye.
All right, what else has happened? It's been so long, as you said, since we've had a podcast. So we don't have to just kind of bring everybody up to speed necessarily. But what's...
Yeah, because we did a big Sunday Sino podcast.
mhm.
And then y'all didn't do one last week?
Nope, we did not.
Vacation, yeah.
So vacation, so here we are back.
Here we are. Okay. Okay. Now I'm caught up. Continue.
Let us continue. All right, what do you guys want to talk about? Yesterday, anything recently?
The record short sermon from the week before yesterday.
It was 20 something, just 22 minutes or something like that.
I mean, I was listening to it while I was working, and I'm like, it's already over. What?
Well, it needed to be over. That's the thing. I felt like I got a little lost in the weeds on a couple of illustrations, and that ate up the time.
Caught yourself in a pickle.
Eventually, I'm going to learn how to do this, but how many decades does it take? but I was back on track yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I usually listen to it again on my drive home on Mondays and stuff. Normally, it takes most of the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week it didn't.
Not so much.
All right, still sitting on 225.
Come on, Johnny, you didn't get me all the way home.
No sermon light for you, man. Give you something to chew on.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, all right. Well, yeah, we are continuing on. So, speaking of it, this is interesting too. All right, so the series that we're in is called Letters to a New Church, and the set of messages or series, sermons or lessons or whatever you want to call them, within that are called
Enduring Hope.
Yeah, that's the subtitle.
Oh, okay.
Big one is.
I was trying to think about that today.
Anybody? Oh my.
Yeah, I know. I feel horrible.
Just wait till you hear the hour-long message me saying just the
Enduring
title
Hope is
over again and again.
The
Oh,
small segment we're in, I guess. It's not the correct answer.
Oh.
It's far too specific to be the correct answer.
Yeah.
Onward.
Onward. There we go. It was
Subtitle.
That was one word.
Enduring Hope.
Onward.
But hey, you got Enduring Hope. Well, what I was going to say about that is every morning at the school, the certain staff have a circle up before getting into the day. I'm a part of that circle with staff, and teachers are already in classes and stuff. But before we go into the hallways, there's usually a hands in and so, what's a positive word for today? And so today it was like, Leckie, what do you got? I went, onward. They went, oh, that's great. Yeah. Onward. I'm just like, it's the sermon series I'm in. The covert.
I shall endure, hopefully today.
Yeah, so those words get put up on the board. So when we go in, you go to the hallway, you'll see just right over here, there's a bunch of these words all tacked around. So all year long, those words.
Onward.
All right.
So, but yeah, and Enduring Hope, if I'm going to go back to last week, because you and I talked about it a little bit more, one of your illustrations was about running, and when you get to a spot where you just can't take it anymore, just look a little bit further ahead and try to make it to that spot, then a little bit further ahead.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of truth on that, because I've been there. It's like, okay, I can get up this hill. Really, I can. I just got to get there, and keep on going. but after once your body has had it, and you just set that little bit goal to go a little bit further, and your focus on that was for last week for that same thing spiritually is making sure that we're our eyes are on the right prize, which is just a little bit ahead, to make sure that we're reaching for the next thing, and especially through times of real hard difficulties like we would talk about from yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. There was a twofold illustration. That's kind of where I got kind of lost in it too. Was that would be my goal, would be always to look just a little bit further ahead. But I had also I had just finished a long run. Next day I did a long walk, and then I did a pretty long run, comparatively speaking. And on the day that I recorded the video that I was referring to, I had intended to go longer, but only got like half of that and decided not to. But it was after I decided to stop, after I got to the top of the hill. I didn't stop in the middle of the mess. so to speak.
Yeah. Which is the other part, is making sure that you're not making making decisions that would be possibly detrimental in the middle of the mess.
Yeah, and no big decision should be made when you're exhausted or tired or stressed. So yeah, that was from the week before. That's what Tracey missed. He was busy resting on a cruise and getting sick. All right, then we carried on. Continued on yesterday.
And yesterday was basically taking that into how as Christians we're going to deal with persecution, and just as the Thessalonians were. And I loved your point about the D.A. Carson asking that question about the folks in Acts. This is going great. Where's the persecution? Oh, there it is.
It must be doing something wrong. This is going so well. Yeah, and then it hit pretty hard, for sure. A proper beating is what I think. Then they finally got a proper beating. The beating shall commence. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and that's interesting too, because he talks about that your faith is increasing, your hope your faith is increasing, your love for one another is increasing. And Paul developed in those future church letters to different churches what came to be known essentially as the Pauline triad, right? Where he was always talking about your faith, your love, and your hope. And so even though he had sort of referenced that, the way the passage in 2 Thessalonians plays out is he talks directly about their faith, their flourishing faith. Then he talks directly about their increasing love for one another, but then you expect him to say something about their hope, but he doesn't, because verse 5 through 10 describes what their hope is. Not just that the wicked are going to be done with, but that God is going to come back and he's going to settle accounts, and there is a future hope that we have. And so rather than just saying the hope, it describes a part of their hope, that Jesus is coming back, that those who are giving them so much trouble, he will deal with them as well. And
they're going to get their wish.
Right. Yeah, and it's a bittersweet kind of thing. I mean, I think of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, essentially, how he said, much like Jesus did, Father, don't lay this sin to their account, or Jesus, it was, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. And his reaction was sort of like that. And I always think, man, I have the hardest time someone beating me and hitting me or persecuting really hard to not just get hardened and mad and just try to fight back, which is our inclination, So, they had to, their response to that was at least to know this isn't going to be forever. This persecution, this torment, this stuff, it's not going to be forever. And whenever we look at the injustices in this world, and I think I've touched on that a little bit, it's very easy to just go, God, what in the world? What is happening? How can your servants, suffer in such a way? But we have a great hope that he is going to wrap it all up in the end. And this is not going to endure forever. That difficulty isn't going to last forever. And I didn't mention this on Sunday, but this idea about their hope, their enduring hope. When we in English use the word hope, it's built into the word in English that there's some possibility it might not happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't say hope, right? Well, I hope. But it's like, is Johnny going to finish his sermon soon? I hope so. Right? We hope it is.
Works out. Okay.
Yeah, I hope that's what I hope is going to happen. But there's like a measure in our wording in English that there's a possibility that it might not, but we really hope it does. Well, the kind of hope that's talked about in Scripture here is not that at all. It is and sometimes it's even referred to as a certain hope. It's like we're certain that he came and did this place, and we are certain he's going to return again. So hope is in English kind of fuzzy, but the hope they talked about is that no, we have a certainty he's coming back, and we look forward to his coming, his return.
I hope Jesus comes back soon.
Right.
I know
he's
the
coming
certainty is Jesus is coming back.
Yeah.
My hope is that it's sooner than later.
It's a when, not an if.
Yes. It's like it's not being hopeless in this world.
Right.
It's like we have great hope that he's coming back, and we look forward to his return. I did something I never do, by the way, on Sunday, and that is I said a churchy word without explaining it. Now, not everybody may have caught it because I said it quickly at the end, referring to believers through the centuries have shouted out and cried together under persecution. Maranatha, I said. I didn't explain it, doggone it. And then I followed it up with even so come. But Maranatha is an Aramaic word that basically means the Lord comes, or the Lord is coming, or he is coming. And has come to mean almost, it was in the early church, during times of persecution by the Romans and others, they would often say Maranatha to one another, almost to replace shalom even in Jewish life, and it's the Lord's coming. It's like, he's coming, and we know he's coming. It was a reminder and an encouragement in dark times. So, behind the scenes, there you go.
It's like a common argument that like atheists will have. It's like, whoa, if God is so great and all loving and all powerful, why does evil happen? Well, there's a lot of human evil that's created. Exactly, you have free will, but also it's just because God's not giving retribution at that moment doesn't mean it's not coming. Right. Doesn't mean that vengeance isn't going to be his, like you said. And there's there needs to be belief that there is something way better. Waiting for his believers at the end, that all of those injustices are going to be, all the wrongs are going to be right again, and he's going to take care of that. There's no need for us to do that.
Yes. Well,
and so I think it's a very narrow mindset when you hear that argument. It goes, oh, okay, you like really don't have any belief in any afterlife, or that just this world is this world. There's nothing else to it. Yeah. It's a little frustrating because when you're talking with someone with that mindset, it's very hard to have to make those arguments because their mind is so closed that they won't even listen to the reasoning behind why we have the faith that we have.
Sure.
That's very good, Jake. I think about so as we talk about trying to argue someone into the kingdom of God, there are times when you kind of can, if you do it right and well and with love. Sometimes kind of sliding in through our intellect to try and knock away barriers, open someone's heart. But often, whenever we are having a conversation with anybody and spiritual things come into the conversation, that means, and this is something that you should go, anytime anybody is even having a conversation, unless you just came out and said, hey, do you believe in God? You know what I mean? Just got in their face and started something. But if they are asking questions, even if they seem to be derogatory, nobody does that apart from God drawing them into the picture. And so that means you're standing there, someone is like maybe even belligerent about it, but oh, how can a God, da-da-da-da. Guess what? God's Spirit has initiated this conversation, and he is right there with us in it. Now, they can ultimately not. So I always say, immediately pray. God soften their hearts, open their eyes, bind Satan from this, because our head often blocks what God wants to do in our heart. I don't just mean our emotions, I just mean in our life. And you can talk yourself out of reality if you are hardened in your heart. So that's why often, that's what I pray in our services, God soften our hearts, open our ears. Because even the psalmist was like, Lord, open my lips that I might show forth your praise. Which just sounds poetic, but there's some reality to it. It's like, God, truly help me to praise you. Because in and of myself, I'm probably not gonna. So, especially when you're talking to somebody who's kind of hard-headed and hard-hearted and those kinds of things. Yeah, keep that in mind. That's even the best arguments aren't enough with someone who has set their heart and head apart from God. So
I have a couple of good.
come back to fight another day is what I would say. Come back to, plant the seed, as Bob was saying earlier, and I'll come back and we'll nurture this later. Right, so.
You might
It's good though.
Might not need to get a tattoo of Saul's conversion, but it's there. I've had a lot of conversations like that on the light rail, and not only am I having it with that person, other people are here.
They're hearing it, absolutely.
So,
Oh yeah,
People's ears perk up when they hear those kinds of conversations or arguments, even maybe. They go, I'm going to listen to this.
Well, I was surprised by even a person at school not too long ago who actually randomly said something along the lines of, I do believe in a higher power, but I got the impression that they had been gently moved that way based on some of my conversations along the way with them. And that's encouraging to me. I know sometimes we get a little discouraged. It's like, are we making it? Are we reaching people? But God is at work. He's always at work. You just have to trust Him and keep being faithful. And don't stop sharing, God's doing in your life.
Going to that conversation you had around the table with that you were a part of with all the voodoo stuff.
Yeah, right.
People want to believe that because it's cool.
Yeah,
right? They just want to use Jesus as a swear word and Christ as an exclamation.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
And I say that because that's the way I was when I was, long before I was a Christian.
Yeah, nobody stubs their toe and goes, "Oh, Buddha." It doesn't happen.
I'm going to start doing that.
That's an old joke. That's an old dumb joke. Maybe somebody does. I don't know.
It's a dumb joke, but at the same time, the reason why it's true, it has an impact, is because why is Jesus the target?
Right.
Because we don't want to turn to Him.
Yeah, I think there's certainly something to that. But I will say this too, and just that whole conversation around that table, I don't think any of them are watching this, but I do want to be careful along the line here. But I'm always surprised when I usually go into any environment where people are not necessarily, 90% of them are not Christian or whatever. I go into it with the mindset most of the time that they're already a little annoyed at me, right? Because they know I'm a pastor. I didn't come in and say I'm a Christian. I'm actually not just a Christian, but I'm a pastor. I preach about it every week.
And what? Now they have to mind their P's and Q's around you?
Or they're just annoyed that, that's my thought, but usually it's wrong, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Is that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
But there are some who they have a preconceived idea that, I'm not playing a game with them, I'm just being genuine and being real and being what a Christ follower I hope most of the time that I should be. That just breaks down certain walls, and it's that shining your light in dark places, and it's also not putting it's all the things Jesus said, right? It's like, don't hide the light. Right. Where do you need light? You need it in dark places. I saw how are we doing on time, Chris?
We're pretty close.
Pretty close? Okay, real fast. I was to say, I had a friend of mine I went to college with who posted on his Facebook account something about, here's why I don't celebrate Halloween, right? Because light and darkness don't mix, blah, blah, blah. It was one of those kind of, cut and pasted things.
Yeah.
And I just thought, dude, I understand. Okay, if you were a Christian and you're getting together with everybody to have your, you're gonna do a, some offering to Satan or whatever. Don't do that, right? Don't have your seance or whatever. But I also, my first thought was, I remember thinking like that about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Sort of like, well, I don't want to, there's a little witch on that picture. Should we be a part of this? Right? Because, don't be part of witchcraft. But it was just such a revelation to me when I first really went out to begin planting a church in Texas, that all of the so-called people that you would describe as being the people who aren't Christian, or let's say everything they said was true, that Halloween night was the night for all the devil people to be, right? And their little kids with their little buckets dressed like princesses. First of all, they were all coming to my house, and I'm a Christian. Okay, they're all coming to my house. If that was true, which I don't think that is necessarily true, by the way, but if it was, what a perfect time to embrace and connect with people and shine light and be a nice neighbor and all of that. You don't have to worship Satan. Yeah. Just here's where they are, and some of them are actually coming to your house to trick or treat or coming by your event. Yeah. So anyway, shine the light is what I'm saying. Don't just, what's the old line? Don't just curse the darkness.
Right.
Light a candle, for heaven's sake. Right?
There you go.
Curse you, darkness.
Shine the light, the love of God.
Shine the light.
See, God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him will not perish but have eternal life. That's John 3:16.
Excellent.
Couldn't let the card run out.
How perfect is that? All right, we'll go wrap it up. Is what Tracy's saying. All right. Well, anyhow. Well, hopefully we'll be shining a light shining a light a lot as we go through the rest of this month. Anything else before we go to final words? Friends? No? Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We meet somewhere in the world every week, but we're always online, and you can find us on Facebook by searching for Compass Church Colorado, and we'd love to have you as our guest this Sunday at 10 a.m. You can discover more at compassdenver.com. All right. Final words.
Love you guys. Love everyone else.
Likewise.
This has been great because he is great.
Grace to you and peace. That's all we have for tonight, and we are out. Boom! We did that.
Bye.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, boom.
Later, y'all.
I have a paper cup. You guys have solid good.